VMX Show Season 4.
Little Tetris there for you. That's from the new Tetris for Nintendo 64. Welcome to the VMX Show. I'm Nick or VMX. This is Season 4, Episode 10. We're nearing the end of Season 4, but it's been a pretty cool ride. Got lots of cool stuff coming on. I got your questions and comments. I got a guest, a guy named The Amazing Tony Rose on YouTube. Stopped by to talk about like Nintendo and Zelda and whatnot. And we also got the news as usual. So let's start with your questions and comments. Let's see, this is a little convoluted because we had some stupidity on the comments. I deleted most of it, but some of it's still there. Well, let's see. First, let's go here. SammyBoy798 says, "Hey, Nick, did you see the new Planet of the Apes? Judging your taste in movies, I think you'll adore it." I haven't had the chance to see that yet. I do want to see it, but I just haven't had the chance to see it. All I've seen so far is like the trailer, which looked good. Hopefully it'll make everybody forget that horrific, horrible, terrible, what the fuckness that was the Tim Burton movie from a few years ago. Yeah, so just we want to forget about that. Razarath92 says, oh god, which do you think would be more painful, getting a hand job from Edward Scissorhands or tying a rope around your dick and jumping off the Empire State Building? What is wrong with you? Is this the kind of thing you think about? Which do I think would be more painful? I would say the Edward Scissorhands thing, because that would continue to hurt for a long time, while the Empire State Building thing would only hurt for about 4 seconds. So, I mean, seriously, where do you come up with this shit? If this is what's going through your brain, I'm going to recommend therapy. Uber McPhailsauce, love the username by the way, says, What do you think is the most overrated video game of all time? Even though I think it's good, I don't think Ocarina of Time deserves all the praise it gets. Yes, it does. But the most overrated game of all time is easily Xenogears. Or perhaps Golden Sun. Wow. One of those two. But I think Xenogears. That's what first pops into my dome. Let's see. Cobra DVS says, "Great show, Nick. We're glad to hear you like the Doom movie too. I'm surprised you haven't heard about the new Doom movie. Since I can't post links in the comment, just search new Doom movie and you'll find it there. Who would you like to see in the new movie? I like Carl Urban, but I'm not sure he was the best choice. What do you think?" I thought Carl Urban was okay. I googled it. I didn't find any information that was relevant, just rumors. So, you know, I think that they might have greenlit it, but past that, we don't know anything about it. I don't know about who would be in it. I mean, I think it would work better if it didn't have, like, really big stars in it. So, let's see. Circulation 211 says, I hope Capcom takes Resident Evil 6 back to its horror roots and refresh the series. Resident Evil 4 and 5 played very similar. The over-the-shoulder combat was pretty unique for the time, but it became stale after 5. Well, what's after 5? 5 was the newest one. I think Resident Evil became too combat-oriented for a while there. Resident Evil popularized the survival horror genre, which Resident Evil 5 lacked. I don't know. I think that the adventure game tropes that Resident Evil was steeped in had become stale, and that 4 and 5 were the refreshing new thing. So I don't know about that. I mean, I definitely don't go back to the old style because the old style doesn't work anymore. Let's see. It was creepy sometimes, but it wasn't Resident Evil creepy. Well, yeah, 5 wasn't scary like 4 was. That's one thing that they could go back to. It almost seemed like Uncharted at times, exploring ancient temples, solving puzzles, etc. Well, as opposed to exploring an old mansion and solving puzzles. I mean, the game's it's always been an adventure game series. It's just that with 4 and 5, they put a little more action into it, which I think it needed. Let's see. Bad Blood X left just a simple comment. Great episode. Well, thanks. Glad you enjoyed it. Chubby Luigi says, damn, $170. President of Nintendo takes pay cut. Damn, Super Mario 3D Land. Damn, what a stupid name. Mario Kart 7. Damn, what a stupid name. Your comment made me laugh. I enjoyed with that. There seems to be a bit of confusion on the part of Jason569. He has, I hate to ask, Necro, but by any chance, do you remember the episode where you interviewed Teen Meat? I never interviewed Teen Meat. You must have me confused with some other guy. Kingpin Reviews says, hey Necro, I was recently watching your James Bond reviews, and it got me wondering if you ever watched the Fox show 24. No, I haven't. Moving on. No interest at all, either. Adelinoth says, in Dragon Age, who is your favorite character? Oh, that's interesting. Well, I think my favorite character from a character standpoint was probably Liliana. And also in combat, she was easily the most... Well, Wynn was really useful, too. Wynn and Ogren were my favorite characters for, like, how... their personalities. It's interesting. I haven't played Dragon Age 2, though, so... I also, in Awakenings, I thought that what Anders was pretty funny. Dave Cornfan says, holy shit, fucking epic music from Chronicles of a Dark Lord 2. Sitting here, circle headbanging. I was wondering, do you watch the TV show Breaking Bad? I love it, and I'm stuck into season 4. No, I don't. I don't watch it. Jazzmaster909 says, I would love to see a cyber demon in the new Doom movie. Well, if they do make a new Doom movie, then yeah, I think you need to have a cyber demon in there. Game Eternal 777 says, the music from Chronicles of a Dark Lord Episode 2 is absolutely fucking epic. It makes me want to play the game now. Well, you only got a few more months to go. So, Necro, what are your top 5? I don't do top 5. What are your top 5 final boss themes from RPGs, commercial or indie? I don't do top 5. I'm not going to sit here and try to think of 5. One that I thought was really good was, let's see, final boss theme in an RPG. Final Fantasy 13. Okay, moving on. I think Mega Man is dead. Capcom spending more time making crappy DRM so you can't play what you bought. You're jumping into the fire a little bit. I mean, I've never heard of a game that you buy it and then you can't play it from Capcom, so I think you're exaggerating by quite a lot. As for Mega Man being dead, I think this is the year where they've killed off the series, and I think it has to do with Inafune not being at the company anymore. They canceled Mega Man Universe. They canceled Mega Man Legends 3. You know, maybe we'll get a Mega Man 11 sometime down the road. I don't know. The Jefferson says, hey, so good video again, and my question is, what is your favorite game system ever? I must have answered this about 1,000,000 times, but what's 1,000,001? Super NES. And I figure you've already gotten this question, but I'm a newer viewer, so I was wondering. Sorry if you've already answered this 1,000 times. No, 1,000,000. I just wanted to know. Super NES was the best system of all time. Wolfex says, on your Super Smash Bros., I'm surprised you didn't say Wart. Lol. He'd make an awesome alternate Bowser character. No, he wouldn't. That's why I didn't say Wart. That would be awful. I would love to see Crystal from Star Fox, because she'd become a very important character in the series, but she's never been in Super Smash Brothers. Yeah, I could see that, fighting with the staff and whatnot. I think there's a lot of Star Fox characters already. But yeah, I could see Crystal fitting in there. Maybe if they replaced Wolf with Crystal, because Wolf was kind of useless. She could play like Mewtwo with telekinesis and shit, but yeah, I almost feel like Nintendo hit their character cap. But I'm sure I'm wrong, lol. Also on that, 13 Duct Tape Ninja 13 says, when you said Little Mac, I instantly thought of Joe and Mac. I feel ashamed I forgot about Punch-Out. Well, when you herf, you always derf. CoolVids19 says, I'm not really big of game music expert, I just know the obvious ones. Well, you missed a lot of obvious ones. Drizzed1 says, oh my god, Mortal Kombat Trilogy is, in my opinion, easily the best Mortal Kombat game ever made. It's great. I'm surprised you never played it. I'm glad to know you've got a chance to play it, and I will definitely watch it. Nah, the new one's the best one. He also... he posted it twice. Why do you do that? Alright, moving on. Splashfire0x says, hey Nick, a great episode as always. Anyway, what's your favorite Capcom series? Street Fighter, I guess. Meatboy5 says, Necro, do you plan on doing an Oblivion special? What do you mean a special? I don't know what you're talking about. And which would you rather play? Play Crazy Bus for 12 hours or listen to all Rebecca Black's and Justin Bieber's songs twice? I'm going to go with the music, because Rebecca Black, I think she only has like 2 songs, and Justin Bieber hasn't been around that long, so I think I can get that done quicker than 12 hours. Play Crazy Bus for 12 hours. I can't even imagine it. I would vomit my sanity out of my eyeballs. The Alley Rat says, hi Necro, I was wondering what you're going to do for hitting 5,000 subscribers. Really enjoying the season. Actually, pretty much the same thing I did for 4,000. I'm going to do a poll and 4 games, and whichever game wins the poll, I'm going to do an all-in-one playthrough. I'm close to 5,000. I got 4,962, so we're getting there. You should see that pretty soon. Circulation 211 says, oh god, alright. Would you rather eat sushi off of RuPaul's naked body unwashed for days, dipping each piece in soy sauce filling every hole, or give Courtney Love analingus after she's been on a week-long drug binge with the Taco Bell shits? I hate you, and I'm not going to answer that. Pack is back 04 says, great show once again, Necro. My question is, would you like to see a sequel to Wario World, and if so, what changes would you make to it that differ from the original game, and what would you keep the same? I really enjoyed the first game, and I had hoped to see a sequel for quite some time. I haven't heard anything about one, though. I would like to see that. I wouldn't change too much. I think the game. I think a little more variety in the combat, but other than that, the game is fine. The big thing that I would change is for it to be a bit longer. Wario World was a great game, but it was also a short game, so hopefully it would be a little bit longer for the sequel. Sort of like Luigi's Mansion. It was a good game, but it was short, so they're doing a Luigi's Mansion 2, and it's supposed to be a lot longer, that you're exploring 5 mansions. So maybe the 3DS would be the system to go to for Wario World 2. And, Luigi's Mansion proved that, you can do a sequel 7 years later, so why not, right? Why not? Well, let's play a little music, and then we'll get to the news. Here's a little Skyrim for y'all. I know you've been wanting to hear Skyrim music on here, so here's some Skyrim. Okay, so let's get to the news. Okay, well, we got to start off with some sad news. Takeshi Miyagi, the creator of Grandia, has passed away on July 29th. He was 45. We don't know how he died. No cause of death has been released so far. Of course, he was best known for creating the Grandia series, but also worked on classics such as Slipheed, Lunar, The Silver Star Story, and Gun Griffin. So we'll see what happens with that. Hopefully I'll have some sort of follow-up to find out exactly what happened with him. He was only 45 years old. I have some results from Evolution 2011, the big video game, mostly fighting game tournament that took place in last week, I believe it was. So for Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition, one of the biggest gamers in that was Diego, the Beast Umehara, who actually was eliminated very early by a Korean guy named Punko, who made it all the way to the finals, where he was defeated by a Japanese guy named Fudo. Punko was using Seth, and Fudo was using Fei Long. So it looks like Fei Long was the big winner for Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the results I have here, the finals were Viscant, who used, let's see, who did he use? Viscant used Dark Phoenix, and it doesn't say here who else he used, but he defeated the other guy, PR Rog, who was using Trombone and that's all. Oh, Hagar, Trombone, Hagar, and Balrog. So, oh no, his name is Pierre. It's a little confusing the way this is laid out. I'm sorry about that, guys. Mortal Kombat 9 debuted for the first time at Evolution. A lot of hype for that one. Perfect Legend wound up winning. Once again, a Kung Lao player, so that's not a big surprise. Other winners included Spark, who won for BlazBlue Continuum Shift 2, and Core, who won for Tekken 6. So that was the results from EVO 2011. Bad news for fans of The Witcher 2 who want to play this on Xbox 360. The Xbox version of the game is delayed and will come out next year. Came out for PC back in May, and we don't know exactly when next year Witcher 2 will be coming out on Xbox 360, but it'll be sometime in the first quarter, so the latest would be March. Here's good news from Nintendo. They are currently working on developing DLC support for the Nintendo 3DS and Wii U consoles. So, I was just saying to somebody that, Nintendo has always been very ahead of the curve in some ways and woefully behind in other ways, and DLC support is one that they've always been woefully behind, and so hopefully they'll play a little catch-up here. I mean, the Wii could have really used DLC, especially for patches like a game like Metroid Other M. If you could stomach playing it, there's that whole Ice Beam glitch that can completely get you stuck, and then you'd have to send your SD card or your actual Wii to Nintendo for them to fix your save, which is a ridiculous notion. Why not just download a patch? So, I have some bullshit to talk about with Diablo 3. First off, their DRM will require that you have a persistent internet connection, and you'll not be able to play it offline. They say that they're doing this because they don't want people to cheat. That's kind of that kind of sucks. Also, it may not come out this year. Blizzard says they are working hard to ship Diablo 3 this year, but they haven't made any promises it might not actually come out this year. So, a lot of bullshit regarding Diablo 3. In Texas, the school system has incorporated gaming design into their curriculum. So they have a course that they've introduced in many public schools in Texas, and the Texas State Board of Education's description for the game design course goes thusly. Throughout the course, students will research the various dramatic elements of games, create a game design concept document and storyboard, write game rules and instructions, and develop game software. Students must also test their games and incorporate feedback from their classmates and teachers. In addition to designing their games, students must research the roles of developers, publishers, and marketers within the game industry and study the intellectual property and copyright laws related to technology use. So that's cool. That's cool. I talked last week about 10 games out of the 20 that are coming out for Nintendo 3DS that will be free to the early adopters who bought the system at its full price of $250 on the back of the system being reduced to $170 fairly soon. 2 more games have been announced. One is Super Mario Advance 4 Super Mario Bros. 3, which is basically, Mario Bros. 3 on the Game Boy Advance, and the other is Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, also for Game Boy Advance, so that's pretty cool. Good news for fans of Borderlands. Borderlands 2 has been announced, so that's a no-brainer. The game will head to Xbox 360, PlayStation and 3, and PC sometime next year, after April, but we're not sure when after April. There might be a new Scribblenauts game coming out. A domain name for Scribblenauts Remix was registered by Warner Brothers. Remix suggests that it could be, something based on the first 2 games. It could be remixed content. It could be downloadable content. It could be anything. We really don't know, but that may be a thing that's happening. The Wii U, a lot of people speculating on when it's going to be released and what the price is going to be. Well, you won't be finding out for quite a while. Satoru Iwata said, since the Wii U we showed you at E3 show... Wow, what a grammatical nightmare. Since the Wii U we showed you at the E3 show in June was still in the development phase without very specific proposals on the software titles, we're going to announce the release date and the price next year when we're able to explain the specific proposals. Our decision of the price marked... and he's also talking about the 3DS. Our decision of the price markdown this time is a side effect that at the launch of the Wii U, people may feel the price might drop in the near future if they wait. What we'll be able to do to recover the consumer's trust before the launch of the Wii U is very important to us. So in other words, he's saying, because the 3DS was released at $250 and very shortly after will be dropping to $170, a lot of people may want to hold off on the Wii U. They're going to feel that they want to hold off on the Wii U and see if there's going to be a price drop right away, which in itself is sort of a vicious cycle because it was underwhelming sales that led to the necessity of a price drop, while with the Wii U, this thing could very well blow up and be a huge sales phenomenon like the first Wii was, but at the same time, if a lot of people feel that there may be a price drop in the near future and they hold off, that's going to lower sales dramatically and it's going to create the need for a price drop. So that's sort of an interesting comment from Iwata there. Now here's an interesting story. What would you say is the most disappointing game of the year so far? Well, somebody did a study on it, and they polled 1,671 people. This was done by a research company called Player 2, and they asked them, this is the exact wording of the question, which video game releases for the past 12 months were you disappointed if any? Okay, see, I didn't even look at that originally. That explains it. There's one game in here that actually came out last year, but if they're doing past 12 months, that's why. So this is what's going on. They were given multiple games to choose from, and 41% of them said that Duke Nukem Forever was the most disappointing game of 2011 so far, or of the past 12 months. 39% said it was Dragon Age 2, or they checked off Dragon Age 2. Obviously, this adds up to way more than 100%, so they might have been able to pick more than one game. Crysis 2 was picked by 36% of people. 34% of people said L.A. Noire was disappointing. 32% of people said Brink was disappointing. 30% of them said Killzone 3 was disappointing. 27% said Dead Space 2 was disappointing. I'm surprised by that one. 24% of them said that Need for Speed Shift 2 was disappointing, and that is a surprise because I find it hard to swallow that anyone had any real expectations there. 21% said Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare was disappointing, and 18% said Marvel vs. Capcom 3 Fate of Two Worlds was disappointing. So wow, that's interesting. I have some news regarding Dragon Quest X. Unfortunately, not news about the actual game. It's still coming out for the Wii, but there is some news that if you play it on the Wii U, there may be some additional content. Here's a quote from Yuji Horii, creator of the Dragon Quest series. He says, I feel that some users will want to play Dragon Quest on the big screen, which is why we are working toward releasing it on Wii. Of course, in the future, we might develop it on handhelds again, so it's really a case-by-case basis. It all depends on what the customer wants at the time. And also a quote from Yoichi Wada, who's the CEO of Square Enix. He says, Square is in the process of technical investigations for what sounds like addition of Wii U-specific content or features. So that's interesting. More information will be shared by the end of the year on the future of Dragon Quest X. Some news on the PlayStation Vita. If you remember at E3, they said that the game system will be out at least in one territory by the end of 2011. As a surprise to no one, that territory will be Japan, while America and Europe will get the 3DS, I almost said, the PlayStation Vita sometime early next year. So, we'll see what's happening there. Back to Dragon Quest for a second. Square Enix will be celebrating the 25th anniversary of Dragon Quest with a high-rise gallery. Obviously, this is happening in Japan at the Mori Art Center. That's on the 52nd floor of the Mori Tower in Roppongi Hills, so if you're in Japan, you might want to check out an art gallery featuring stuff from Dragon Quest over the years. They're also offering a special version of Luida's Bar, a cafe that's themed around a location from the franchise, so that's what's going on there. New releases on Nintendo download services. On the 3DS Virtual Console, you can now get Mario's Picross. That's a Game Boy game that made by Nintendo, coming out for $4. This challenging puzzler requires logic to reveal mysterious hidden pictures. Help Mario unlock the mystery of Picross. The secrets lie in the numeric codes at the top and on the left side of each window. Decipher these numbers and uncover a hidden picture in every mind-bending puzzle. Coming for WiiWare is Monochrome Racing from Nord Current for 500 Wii points. That's $5. Screeching tires, the smell of burned rubber, the rush of adrenaline, and enemies that are left in the dust. These are the emotions that drive real racers. However, there is much more than this in the world of Monochrome Racing. There is the passion for color. Color is everything here. It is what you strive for in the world where everything is black and white. Color is your fuel. Color gives you speed. Color makes you stronger and ultimately makes you the true leader of the Monochrome Racing world. For $5, you seem to get a lot. More than 80 tracks to complete, more than 10 cars to choose from and upgrade, numerous power-ups and bonuses that make your vehicle stronger and your enemies weaker, and immerse yourself in the mysterious monochrome world. Coming for DSi, where B-Team Episode 2 Ice and Venom from Subdued Game for 800 points or $8. The saga continues in B-Team Episode 2 Ice and Venom. Continue your mission in this humorous, action-packed, squad-based shooter. Assume control over a small private army whose soldiers are hired from all over the world and lead your platoon through an onslaught of commandos. It is a sequel to the popular DSiWare shooter. Control a small private army against an onslaught of wacky enemies, multiple weapons, upgradable equipment, challenging bosses, and destructible environments. Hook up with a friend in cooperative multiplayer. Also coming to DSiWare is Play and Learn Spanish from SelectSoft for 800 points or $8. Play and Learn Spanish is the fast, fun, and friendly way to learn to speak Spanish. Couldn't be simpler than that. Also coming for DSiWare is Go Fetch 2 from Age Tech Incorporated for 500 points or $5. May the best dog win. Go Fetch 2 is the sequel to the popular game with enhanced graphics, improved controls, and features a new battle mode. Balls are thrown, and the player must guide their puppy to retrieve them. So you're chasing balls. And finally, for Nintendo Video, Pizza Quest. Join Scott on his epic quest for the world's best pizza ingredients. This video from College Humor becomes available today. Well, not today. It's already available. It was available since the 4th. This article was posted on the 4th at 3 p.m. Pacific time. So that's already available on the Nintendo 3DS. One final bit of news before we get to the interview. Seems the lead singer from Maroon 5 is incredibly stupid. If you remember a couple of years ago, Courtney Love was suing Activision for the use of Kurt Cobain's likeness in the game Guitar Hero 5, even though she had signed away rights for them to use it. Well, if you thought that was stupid, Adam Levine, lead singer of Maroon 5, is looking to one-up Courtney Love for World's Stupidest Idiot. Now he's suing Activision for the game Band Hero, which, as you may remember, came out a full 3 years ago. This lawsuit alleges that he's upset that his avatar in the game could sing songs that had female vocals. He's also bitching that other artists were paid more to have their avatars used in a similar matter. It's called leverage. It's not about fair. Adam Levine, you're an idiot. It's like finding out that you were hired at the same time as someone else and they're getting paid more. Why? Maybe they had more experience. Maybe they're a better negotiator. You don't get to sue because you signed a contract. Okay? You agreed to their terms. You agreed to that. So basically, he's one of the biggest idiots in the world. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell's going on there. Well, let's get Tony in here. Tony came by earlier this week to do an interview, talk about Zelda, talk about Nintendo and their future. His website is zero-gaming.com. That's zero with an X, so xero-gaming.com. It's an online forum for video gaming. Check that out. Also, his YouTube is The Amazing Tony Rose, although there's nothing to see there. So let's get him in here. I got Tony with me. Tony from, was it ZeroGaming.com?
Yeah, ZeroGaming.com.
Why don't you tell me a little bit about that, Tony?
Well, ZeroGaming.com is a gaming news site that's also a forum. We've got a pretty decent user base.
About how many?
And we're looking for staff openings. Okay. Good 500 to 1,000.
Yeah, that's a good number. You don't want too many, you know. Then it gets a clusterfuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you were telling me a little earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I just wanted to. It's zero-gaming.com. Zero spelled with an X.
Okay, I'll have the URL in the description of the video for everybody to check out. And you told me that it started as a Zelda-centric site and then moved over to general gaming. Could you tell me what prompted that change?
Well, as we were talking about before, there's just not much Zelda news at all.
Yeah.
I mean, games don't come as frequently as, say, Call of Duty or anything like that, so there's not much to talk about, so we just had to transition.
Okay. And about how many people work on this site?
The staff is about 10 to 12 people. We've got people who write news, people who post blogs, and editorials, and then we've got the mods.
So are you in charge of the HNIC?
I'm in charge of, well, I'm not in charge per se, but I'm a member of tech staff.
Okay.
So
all right.
I just keep it up and running.
Okay. And you wanted to talk a little bit about Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
So tell me what your thoughts are on Skyward Sword.
Well, for one, I'm excited. I like the graphical approach they decided to use for the game, you know, the whole blend of cell shading and kind of more realism.
Well, you know, at first I was a little thrown by that because it reminded me of, like, Ocarina of Time more than anything. And I was like, well, why did they go with that? That's it. Because I felt like they should either make it realistic or they should make it cartoony and not sort of half and half. But it seems they've sort of shifted it as they go on, because you see newer footage and newer trailers. It seems that they've sort of shifted it towards more cartoony. So now when I look at it, it kind of looks like a really polished version of like Wind Waker. So I'm kind of digging that.
Yeah, at first it really didn't look remarkable at first, but it did get better. Although I must say I still prefer Wind Waker's all-out cartoony look.
Well, I think most Zelda fans now agree that Wind Waker was among the best, if not the best, of the Zelda games, which is kind of funny in retrospect, because everybody was bitching about it back in the day. So,
Yeah.
what do you think of the motion controls? I think they're kind of overdoing it on this one.
Oh yeah, I have to agree because I can imagine getting tired pretty quickly, you know?
Yeah, because, I mean, it's not that I'm against motion controls, but Zelda's the type of game that you sit and you play for a long period of time.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it being a bother, but no, I think it'll be a good game either way.
Well, I certainly hope so. And what do you think of the thought that a lot of people have in their heads that this may not be for the Wii? I mean, Nintendo has said again and again that they're not planning on moving this, that they're planning on keeping it on the Wii, and that it won't be available for Wii U. But there's still that very persistent rumor that they might go ahead and do that at the last minute like they did with Twilight Princess. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be moved onto the Wii U at all. Because, well, it's pretty much in the late stages of development now, and like I guess they could theoretically move it to the Wii U, but
I think especially knowing that Pikmin 3 was ported over to the Wii U, that kind of gives you that thing like, okay, well, definitely there's Wii games that we're not going to see.
Yeah, that is true, but yeah, I guess it could be moved, but I don't think it's likely.
I'm hoping they keep it where it is. Because especially if we're not going to get games like Xenoblade and The Last Story and Pandora's Tower, then what else is there to look forward to? And we're not getting Pikmin 3. What else is there to look forward to other than Zelda and Kirby?
Yeah, that whole Operation Rainfall thing was just saddening.
Well, I mean, it seems weird. I thought they would have more support than they do. I mean, they have, like, I think about 9,000 members. But, when Mega Man Legends 3 got canceled and as a group started to revive that, and they already have, like, 40,000 members in a much shorter amount of time. And I would think that Nintendo would have more following than just specifically Mega Man.
Yeah, it's very strange. It seems like everybody is trying to follow Rainfall's model now.
Yeah, but they're doing better.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing about it. Well, I mean, they're having more of an impact, I think. But no, I definitely support Operation Rainfall. I hope we do get those games, because, we know the Wii is cycling down. It's coming to the end of its lifespan. Nintendo's been pretty good about supporting systems, even after the next one comes out. But when that next system comes out, it's the beginning of the end. But I kind of think the beginning of the end for the Wii has come a little early with the cancellation of, 3 major localizations, the revelation that Pikmin 3 is not going to see the light of day at all on the system, and it's like the fact that they're generally just not even promoting Kirby.
Oh yeah, it's like they have 2 new Kirby games coming out, but they're not talking about it. It's just kind of there on the wayside.
And you think that with the issues that they've had with the 3DS sales being a little on the underwhelming side, they would want to be pointing out, hey, we got great new games coming out for the system, but instead they're just like, I don't know, they're trying to let the 3D sell it, and that's not going to work.
Yeah, the 3DS, honestly, I have hope for it, because right now it looks like how the DS started. The DS didn't have very good launch titles either, and it caught up eventually and became one of the best-selling
you're right.
systems.
You're absolutely right. You're 100% on the money. It was seen as a failure. People were saying, if you can get a DS or a PSP, why would you get the DS? The PSP is so much better. But then games like New Super Mario Brothers and Nintendogs and Pokemon started to come out for it, and all of a sudden it was selling like hotcakes.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened later.
Yeah, because and then especially, okay, they lowered the price, because you got to admit something as ridiculously awesome as the PlayStation Vita being at
the same price is a bit frightening for Nintendo. But it's interesting though. I mean, it's sort of the same debate, but as much as I'm very excited about the Vita and I do plan on getting one, I also really don't. I think the 3DS is going to outsell it.
Yeah.
Eventually.
And, I kind of want to get the Vita too.
Oh,
yeah,
definitely. Definitely. But I mean, I think that eventually they will outsell the Vita. I don't think at first it's going to be. I mean, right now, the 3DS sort of had like this big bombastic launch and then a sharp drop off, because it's like, what was the killer game? You could get Street Fighter 4 for the 15th time, or a bunch of games that you really don't want, and it's like, well, we do have Kirby and Luigi's Mansion and Kid Icarus and Mario Kart and all that. Eventually, it seems that most consoles don't have strong launches these days.
Oh yeah, looking back at the PS3 launch,
Yeah, well, even the PlayStation 2.
Well,
even the PlayStation 2 had a very underwhelming launch. I mean, obviously they had a good launch weekend, but then after that, it was like, it was still being outsold by the Dreamcast for a little bit of time, until they got some decent games on it.
I will admit I'm not old enough to remember the PlayStation 2 launch vividly.
Oh my god.
But I'll take your word for it.
Everybody that comes on this show makes me feel so old. I gotta get some, seriously geriatric gamers in here. I gotta get, somebody who was old when Pac-Man came out. I don't understand this Xbox 320's got too many fucking buttons.
With the rumor that the Wii U is going to have GameCube Virtual Console, that makes me feel old, and I'm not even old.
It's true. Well, you know what? I'm excited for that idea, although it seems like the guy who said it at E3, I don't think he should have said it. I think he got in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was, people were asking, well, can you still play GameCube discs on it? And he says, no, you can't play GameCube discs on it. But hey, we could have GameCube games on the Virtual Console. And the very next day, Nintendo's like, we haven't announced anything officially yet. So
I think it'll be cool. I'm planning on catching up on Pikmin and a lot of other GameCube games I missed.
Damn straight. I mean, it's a shame that you can't have that compatibility, because then it could completely replace the Wii. But I guess what Nintendo's going for, they're going for, like they said at E3, to having 4 active systems: the Wii, the Wii U, the DS, and the 3DS. Mm-hmm. So who knows? Who knows? What do you think of the idea of a Smash Brothers game being on both systems? Hello? The hell just happened? Hello? What the fuck? Hello? Unbelievable, what? Okay, so this is the VMX show Dead Air here we got. I'm not sure what happened to him, but I'm probably guessing we're going to be editing this part out. Unfucking believable. What is going on here? That's going to throw my timeline off.
I'm really sorry about that. I had a technical issue.
You had a technical issue. Sounded like I heard somebody else talking.
Yeah, my mom came in, and I turned around and unplugged my mic by accident.
Oh, yeah, well, I've been there. Okay, well, we're still recording. I'll just edit all that out, no problem.
All right.
So, can you remember what I was... Okay, all right, I'm going to start from the question I was asking you. What are your thoughts on the idea of a Smash Brothers game being on both systems, both the Wii U and the 3DS?
That I have mixed feelings about.
Okay, yeah, me
Because
too.
on one hand, it'd be cool to see, yeah, it'd be cool to see connectivity and all that, but I don't see the reason for it.
Well, my issue is I think it would be cool if it could work with each other, you know? If it was like, you know, kind of like the cloud saving features between the PS Vita and the PS3. But at the same time, if they're doing the same exact game on the 3DS and on the Wii U, my question is, how long is the development going to be to get this game to work in 3D? And what is it going to look like?
Oh yeah, and Sakurai came out just a little while after it was announced and said, "Oh, I had no idea that I was working on a Smash Brothers game."
Well, that's not
yeah,
exactly.
No,
that's not exactly what he said. What it was that people were assuming that he was already working on it, and he was trying to let people know that although he's agreed to do it, it's not happening like right now. That he's working on Kid Icarus, and then it's like after that they'll start developing Smash Brothers.
Okay.
So it's not a game in development yet. It's like a game that's just been planned, you know. And I think that they may have jumped the gun on announcing it so soon, but at the same time, it does get people excited. I mean, you heard the crowd cheer when he said Smash Brothers.
Oh yeah.
And I have
No trailer, no nothing, just the very name.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I have been thinking the idea of a handheld version of Super Smash Brothers could be really cool, especially, you know, since the 3DS finally has some sort of analog control, but at the same time, I think it would have been better if they were two separate games.
Yeah, I agree.
But,
And
you know,
I don't see
Smash
the
Brothers
incentive for
is-
picking up both versions. Like maybe they'll have different characters or something. I don't know.
Well, see, no, if it, you know, I mean, here's the way I see it. Either do two separate games or release it on one system. Because if it is the same exact thing, you're cutting the sales of both of them in half, I think.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I would prefer to play a fighting game on a console, not a handheld. Oh, but I would like to see, you know, Smash Brothers be handheld. Who knows? Who knows? I don't fucking know. I mean, you know, people were asking me, like, what kind of characters would you like to see? And, I answered that last week, but I'm more concerned with what is this game going to look like?
Yeah.
Because could they really... I mean, here's what I'm trying to get at. How good are the graphics going to be for the Wii U if they have to make this game run on the 3DS?
Oh, that is true.
I mean, the 3DS is
The Wii
impressive.
U's-
It runs Super Street Fighter 4, but at the same time, we're hoping that the Wii U is going to be somewhat beyond that.
Yeah, that is. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't even.
It's food for thought, right? So maybe
Mhm.
it'll be maybe it'll be a trade-off. Maybe the 3DS version will be scaled down in terms of graphics, but it'll also, you know, be in 3D.
Yeah, that sounds plausible.
I hope Nintendo's listening.
Hmm.
They're not. Well, did you have anything else you wanted to say?
Well, one of the things I wanted to mention was Kid Icarus Uprising. I'm kind of worried about it, to be honest. I have mixed feelings about that game so far.
Well, what's to worry about?
I don't. It just doesn't seem very Kid Icarus. It looks like Kingdom Hearts meets Final Fantasy meets Kid Icarus.
I'm fine with that. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, are you going to do like another platformer like the first two games were? It's,
Yeah.
you know... I think
I'm
that
fine with it. I'm just.
as the flagship title that sort of introduced the 3DS to everybody and the first 3DS game that anybody's seen. We don't really know much about the gameplay, too. Like, it seems to focus a lot on the flight stuff when you see it in the trailer, from what I understand, you're limited to how much you can fly, and that a lot of it is ground
Yeah,
combat.
Sakurai came out. Yeah, Sakurai came out and said that, and we really haven't seen much of the ground combat. So
Yeah, hopefully maybe they just were still tweaking it too. But
Yeah.
I'm excited about it. I mean, I was holding off on the 3DS, and at first that was my excuse, that I'm waiting for something really big like Kid Icarus. But now that I'm waiting for the price drop now, since it's coming so
let me
soon.
tell you, I got my 3DS at launch, and I was sorely disappointed for a while. And then the eShop came, and I kind of tided myself over with a few of the downloadable games. So it's getting better now. But
Well, you're entitled
First
to
it was
20 free games. You know that, right?
oh yeah, I'm excited for that, especially because a lot of those Game Boy Advance game I missed out on. So,
Yeah, and I mentioned it earlier in the show. I mean, last week I talked about 10 of the games that have been announced, and now we know that 2 more are Super Mario Advance 4 and Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. So these are not like crappy titles. These are good games.
oh yeah, like Metroid Fusion, I'm excited for that, and
Well, funny story. My friend Joey had just bought a 3DS, and I said, "Hey, you heard about the 3DS price drop?" And immediately he got angry. I didn't even say how much it was. And then when I told him how much it was, I thought he was gonna punch a baby in the dick or something. He got so pissed off. And then I told him, "You're getting 20 free games, though," and he's like, "So what?" But I was like, "Well, here's 10 of them." And once they got to Metroid, he was like, "I accept this offering." He didn't say it exactly like that, but he calmed down considerably. So,
yeah.
And it's cool that Game Boy Advance games are making it, because the original DS lost that capability to play them when the DSi came out. So
Oh yeah,
that's why,
I was hoping for a G.
That's why you hit on this earlier with the Wii U. I really do hope that GameCube games find their way onto the Virtual Console, because it's losing that that ability to play them.
Mhm.
And the console itself looks smaller. There's no place to plug in controllers, but I'm hoping you would just use the tablet to play the GameCube games.
That would be something.
I mean, it has enough buttons.
Yeah.
It has just the same amount of buttons as the GameCube. It's got 2 sticks. So, actually, it's got an extra button, because the GameCube only had 3 shoulder buttons, and this thing has 4. So, that
wow.
could work really well. But, I think that would be cool. I'm looking forward to pretty much all of this. One more question for you before we go, because we gotta go. What do you think about these names, the Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Kart 7?
They're retarded.
Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the
I'll
only
just
one.
say that right there.
And it's official too, because I just saw the logo for Mario Kart 7 earlier today, and I'm like, well, I guess that's not a hoax. I was hoping it was bullshit. It was kind of like the same thing as
it after 7.
it's like Windows 7. I'm like, first off, it's not the 7th one, and second of all, they never numbered they numbered Windows 1, 2, and 3, but after that they gave up on numbering them, and they just named them whatever.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden 7 comes out, even though it's like 9 or 10. And I was thinking, actually, because I thought about, okay, well, it is Mario Kart 7, because Super Mario Kart would be 1, Mario Kart 64 would be 2, Super Circuit would be 3, Double Dash would be 4, and then 5 would be, what do you call it, Mario Kart DS, and 6 would be the Wii one. But then I thought, what about the 2 for arcade?
Oh, that's right. The ones that had like Pac-Man and all those
I guess
random
that's
characters.
I guess that's why they're not counting it, because Namco developed it. Because it wasn't developed by Nintendo. Maybe that's why they're not counting it. Because then that would make this, Mario Kart 9, not Mario Kart 7.
Yeah.
So who knows? 7, and then Super Mario 3D Land. What is that? But
Oh, no,
at least
sounds awful.
the game looks amazing, though. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I have.
It just
I'm
looks
excited.
fantastic. Well, anyway, we got to go. Great having you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and check out his site, zero-gaming.com. It is .com, right?
Yeah, it is .com.
Okay, zero-game.
Is it .com?
Well,
yeah,
you
.com.
you sent me the
All
link
right.
earlier. I'll have it on the description. Okay, well, let's get back to the show then.
Little Mega Man Legends 2 music for you there. That's Geats' battle theme. Let's end the show, as we always do, with the video game sales figures for the week. So here we have the top 10 best-selling games in America for the week ending in July 30th, 2011. The top-selling game was Catherine for PlayStation 3, which sold 98,317 copies. NCAA Football 12 for Xbox 360 sold 77,449 copies. NCAA Football 12 for PlayStation 3 sold 56,714 copies. Catherine for Xbox 360 sold 53,242 copies. Mario Kart Wii for the Wii sold 43,499 copies. Just Dance 2 for the Wii sold, window popping up there, 42,680 copies. Wii Sports Resort for the Wii sold 30,187 copies. Pokemon Black and White version for the DS sold 26,778 copies. Kinect Adventures for Xbox 360 sold 26,446 copies. And Zumba Fitness on the Wii sold 26,351 copies. In Japan, Mina no Rhythm Tengoku, what we would call Rhythm Heaven on the Wii, sold 83,870 copies. As you can see, they definitely bounced back from the tsunami here with video game sales figures. Queen's Gate Spiral Chaos for PlayStation Portable sold 66,998 copies. Megami Iboronku Devil Survivor 2, which we would call Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2, sold 63,026 copies. Sengoku Basara Chronicle Heroes for PlayStation Portable sold 25,012 copies. Oh, that Shin Megami Tensei game is on the DS. Forgot to mention that. Taiko no Tatsujin Portable DX. That's on the PlayStation Portable, and it sold 22,110 copies. Inazuma 11 Strikers for the Wii sold 21,107 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 20,883 copies. JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 2011 on the PlayStation 3 sold 19,760 copies. JIKU Powerful Pro Yaku 2011 on PlayStation Portable sold 19,391 copies. Hakuuki Remi... Oh boy. Hakuki Reimei Roku Portable on PlayStation Portable sold 17,710 copies. In Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, the number one game was Zumba Fitness on the Wii with 52,305 copies sold. Pokemon Black and White version for DS sold 37,384 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 31,352 copies. Mario Kart Wii on the Wii sold 30,303 copies. Wii Sports Resort on the Wii sold 26,411 copies. Just Dance 2 Extra Songs for the Wii sold 19,286 copies. The Sims 3 Town Life Stuff for PC sold 17,380 copies. Call of Duty Black Ops for PlayStation 3 sold 16,615 copies. Wii Fit Plus for the Wii sold 16,400 copies. And The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D on the 3DS sold 15,531 copies. So worldwide, the top 10 best-selling games were Catherine for PlayStation 3, Rhythm Heaven for the Wii, Wii Sports Resort, Mario Kart Wii, Zumba Fitness on the Wii, NCAA Football 12 for 360, Pokemon Black and White version for DS, Queen's Gate, Spiral Chaos for PSP, Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor 2 on DS, and NCAA Football 12 on the PlayStation 3. Going for hardware sales in America, the top-selling console was, for the second week in a row, the Xbox 360, with 75,655 of them sold. The DS sold 59,754. PS3 sold 55,341. The Wii, 48,156. PSP, 24,204. And the 3DS, 18,694. So you're definitely seeing the Wii sort of drop off a lot, and then the Xbox 360 sort of taking its place. We'll see if that trend continues. In Japan, the number one selling console was the PlayStation Portable with 37,064 sold. PlayStation 3 sold 20,657. Wii sold 18,170. The 3DS sold 16,256. The DS sold 10,095. And the Xbox 360 sold 1,624. In Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Asia, the top-selling console was PlayStation 3, with 61,048 sold. After that, it's the DS with 48,878, the Wii with 48,041, the 360 with 41,240, the PSP with 34,922, and the 3DS with 17,210. Worldwide, best-selling console was PlayStation 3, followed by DS, Xbox 360, Wii, PlayStation Portable, and the 3DS. So that's what's going on there. Hope you all enjoy the show. We'll see you next week with episode 11. I'm Nick VMX, and I'm out, beaches.